What a fine day for music. Yes, fine music. Episode 380 is coming to you, recorded, featuring Murray Thomas.
Yes. So I am going to wrap up my list of 20 albums that influenced my musical taste. So at number 17 is Washing Machine by Sonic Youth. Now, this is when I'm going to jump up a second and go grab, if I can. Oh, come on.
You left a CD in the bathroom.
Yeah.
He's got to go get the detergent.
What a great idea. CD player in the
Fabric
bathroom.
softener's in the other room.
Okay. Most people recommend this to be the Sonic Youth album, the top, Daydream Nation. It's an amazing album. It really flows, but I like Washing Machine better because it's got a lot more variety. In fact, the thing about Sonic Youth is it's noise. It's very noisy rock and roll. Lots of guitar feedback and many things kind of not really out of tune, but strange tunings and stuff like that. But Washing Machine also pays tribute to a lot of their influences, which may be surprising. For example, the title song, at least in my mind, is a tribute to Patti Smith with a good spoken word in it, and it really reminds me of Patti Smith. There's also like a tribute to the Shangri-Las on here with what's the title of that one? It's Little Trouble Girl is even steals a couple of lines from Shangri-La's tunes, and it's kind of in the style. They had several tunes where they're addressing their mother about how they're being a bad girl. It's got tributes to garage rock, Pink Floyd, Velvet Underground, just all sorts of hints and allusions to other bands. And then it ends with this amazing song called Diamond Sea. Diamond Sea, the verse and chorus have probably the most beautiful melody these guys ever came up with. And it's just this really sweet song about, I don't even know what it's about the sea and memories and such. And then after about 5 minutes of that, it descends into 15 minutes of pure guitar feedback noise. It just goes on and on and on. So what did Sonic Youth, and this is the first album of theirs I really paid attention to. And they, in fact, all of these that we're going to look at today, showed me how much noise and like kind of extreme rock can work. And so they like I said, they really pushed me into a more extreme direction. So that's Sonic Youth, Washing Machine. Coming in at number 18 is this gem, Space 99 by Instagon. Now, I did a piece on Instagon maybe a year ago or so. Instagon, they're good friends of mine, or the leader of Instagon is a good friend of mine. They are dedicated to improvisation. Every single show they do, every single time they go in a studio to record something, it's 100% improvised. And to guarantee that, he uses a different lineup of musicians every time he records something. This one he put out, it's Space 99, so he put this album out in 1999. Selections from various of their recordings that all are kind of, could be classified as space rock. Very ethereal, like kind of, Pink Floyd-ish, but just very, I don't know, experimental takes on just what, on improvising. It has a wonderful track called Crawl of the Monkeys in the President's Brain.
Oh, there you go. That's the one.
Which is Scott Weinberg, the wonderful late Scott Weinberg, improvising poetry with them backing it up. Recorded live at Club Mesa in Costa Mesa. That actually is a performance I was at. And in fact, I'm pretty sure it's that night where I finally understood improvisation, like really got it, because they, at some point that evening, these guys who'd never played together as a group just clicked really tight, and just, you could see they were all following each other and producing something amazing that was never going to be reproduced. So Instagon, it's the group that really, and this recording itself, really taught me the joys of improvisation as a listener, and then you go back and, like especially in the 60s, all the great groups, the Doors, Cream, Jefferson Airplane, they all did extended improvisations in their shows. And people don't, nowadays you go to a concert and they got backing tracks and everything's synced to a video, and you just don't get that anymore. Except now and then, which brings me to number 19, Banyan, live at Perkins Palace. These are improvisers. Banyan is this guy on my shirt, Mike Watt, Steve Perkins, drummer for Jane's Addiction, Nels Cline, one of the most amazing improvisational guitarists out there today, and a trumpet player named Willie Walden. And they play hard rock like it was freeform jazz. They just go off in all sorts of directions. A lot of original compositions, but not entirely. I've seen them, actually saw them 3 times at the same place, D Piazza's in Long Beach, a pizza parlor. And these guys came back and played this pizza parlor repeatedly. Right now, Tamara Madison is holding poetry readings there once a month. One of the shows I saw them, they often did a Funhouse by the Stooges, and they segued from Funhouse into Love Supreme. Don't ask me how they pulled that off, but Funhouse into Love Supreme. So this, it was seeing them live more than the album. The album's a pretty faithful reproduction of what I saw. Just getting into that improvisation stuff, getting into the points where the music just totally takes over your brain, and everything else goes out of your brain except the music, and you're just so deeply intense in it. So Banyan, if you can find this, I don't think it's very easy to find these days, but if you can find that album and you like hard rock and free jazz, go for it. And finally, coming in at number 20, Promise by Emily Wells. This album and her more recent one, Regards to the End, I find impossible to classify. This is like post-genre music. It's just music. It's mostly done with violin and synthesizers and some percussion. Emily Wells is another poetry connection. I first saw her backing up poets at Rachel Kahn's poetry series back around 2000. And then she has gone on to be a fairly successful career. I mean, she's not getting on the radio that much, but she does. And she put out at one point an album called Symphonies, but it's like 6 songs that she just labels as symphonies. This album, Promise, in my mind, is itself a symphony. And what's labeled on it as songs are what I would consider movements in the symphony. The whole thing flows, it fits together perfectly, and it takes you places that you might not expect from music, that you just, I don't know, it's transcendent. It moves, it's just pure music. Like I say, it's not trying to be anything other than what it is. So there you have the final 4 albums and my 20 albums that influenced my musical taste. all four of these, like, again, really opened my ears to possibilities, what you could do with music that's outside of, typical songwriting. I mean, last week we talked about great songwriting with Elvis Costello and Richard Thompson. This week I'm going back to music that just somehow goes beyond that. There you go.
Great job with the series there. All right. Thank you, Murray.